Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's not Tuesday night. Well, technically it's Monday night. We're recording this on a Monday. We're playing it on a Tuesday. Either way, I'm Kevin, and that's Tony. This is another Wicked Horror Show.
What is going on, people? You threw me off. It's a little bit different. So
it is different, yeah. And Tony, would you like to introduce our very special guest?
sure, the director of many a movie on Shudder, Brandon Christensen. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing good. Thanks for coming on. I've seen some of your work. One of them I'd seen a while ago, and then I realized as I was rewatching one, I wrapped up maybe about 20 minutes ago that I had already seen it, but it had been a while since I'd seen it, so I was like, all right, just gonna watch it again, even though I know the ending, but I'm gonna watch it anyways. Because I'd watched Night of the Reaper when it first hit Shudder.
Okay.
And then as soon as it started, I'm like, wait a minute, I've already seen this one. So
Okay.
but
So
I
you
really
watched that
enjoyed
a
it.
second time?
I did. I watched it a second
Okay,
time.
cool.
But I really enjoy it. And I hadn't seen Bodycam before. I watched that one today as soon as I got home, and I enjoyed that one as well. And but yeah, so congrats on making some cool movies.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild kind of last, I guess just 5-6 years the output has been pretty high. It's been like almost a movie a year, and just trying to keep that going now.
And how is it with getting stuff to Shudder? Like, do you have like some kind of deal with them, or are you just submitting as you're putting stuff out and they're just agreeing to take it?
Yeah, I don't have a deal with them or anything. I still pay for my account too. And they've just been like a great partner, like I'm friendly with them. Sam Zimmerman, he just recently left for Blumhouse, but he was kind of my kind of contact there. And so every time you'd have a new movie, it would, start talking with him, and we just have a good relationship because my first one, they had the streaming on that for a Stillborn back in 2017, I think, or maybe it was 2018. I can't remember. But, that was so early on in Shudder's history. They've been I think they've been around for almost 11 years now. And that was near the beginning. So I've just sort of, I've been around as they've been around, and we've kind of just grown up together. And yeah, I don't know, they're just like a big part of my career, and I don't know where I'd be without them. But yeah, they've been an awesome partner just because they allow me to just make a bunch of crazy and stupid things and put it out there for people like you to watch. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And with Shudder, I mean, it's just grown tremendously from like
Mm-hmm.
you said from the beginning. It was mostly like, you're well known or you're like bigger horror movies in one
Mm-hmm.
spot, and then they started making their originals, and then it branched off into what it is now, TV shows and all this stuff.
Right.
So I mean, it's one of those things like a horror movie fan like Wonderland. It's just like, okay, one spot I can find what I want, like so many different genres in one, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think horror is just so unique in that it can support something like that, like you don't see the comedy version of Shudder, you don't see the comedy version of like Screambox or anything like that. I feel like just horror is such a massive community of fans that can support something like that, and that's also a great thing that they've tapped into because there's just so many people out there that just love this stuff, and it's been really awesome to be able to sort of put movies out for people like that and just like let them, and I love to talk to them, and Shudder's just given me a great platform for that.
Yeah, it's something where as a horror fan, sometimes it's just, well, streaming in general has really picked up since the pandemic, but
Hmm.
you know, looking for a place to just find good stuff because Netflix used to have a lot of like really cool independent horror, and then that just ended.
Hmm.
They just stopped doing that, and so Shudder kind of came in at a perfect time, and like I've been subscribed for pretty much like almost since it started, and then my my debit card got compromised and I didn't renew it, and so then I was like, all right, I'm gonna just go to AMC Plus and just do it that way because now I'm
Right.
getting all the AMC stuff too, and
Cool.
it's the way to do it. Like it's I don't know, like Shutter's just great. Like whenever like if there's nothing on TV or whatever, I just go right to the Shutter live streaming and just put it on that, and sure enough, there's gonna be something cool on. And
Yeah. That's such a good feature too. I don't know why Netflix doesn't do that or anybody else, just to have like something, because you get like choice paralysis, right? Every time I'll turn on Netflix, I'm like, hey, what do you want to watch? And it's like scrolling endlessly, and you're just, you end up just watching something you've seen 10 times before because it's just comfortable. But yeah, I think having just like a live channel, like, hey, here's a Netflix comedy channel, and just turn it on. Maybe something's good, you're just like, not that, whatever. But yeah, I don't know why Shutter's like the only company doing that right now because it's such a great idea.
yeah, it really does leave out the the choice process of
Hmm.
it's like all right, like I'll even throw something on that you need subtitles for, like, and
Right.
I'm like I don't care, I'll just sit here and read it halfway through the movie, and then if I really dig it, I'll go back and I'll start it from the beginning or whatever. But so how long have you been in the business of making movies?
The first feature I worked on, we shot in 2015, so it's been just over a decade now, which, is surreal. But I was a producer on that one. It was a zombie film called It Stains the Sands Red. And it was kind of my first, opportunity to get into that field. Like I'd been doing short films and stuff like that for a long time, but that jump to features is always so daunting and almost impossible at first. And so, I'd been friends with these two guys. They used to be the Vicious Brothers, Stuart Ortiz and Colin Minahan, and they did like Grave Encounters, stuff like that. And I was living in Las Vegas at the time, and they had a zombie script that took place in the desert, and they sent it to me, and I just, just as a friendly thing to read. I don't think they had any intentions of bringing me on or anything, but I read it, and I was just like, everything in this script I know I can get the locations for you guys. And so like I put together just sort of a plan that they could come out and see everything. And we basically scouted the whole movie, and I was just like, I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm going to take the next 2 to 3 months off work. I'm not going to do anything because I was just like a freelance director at the time. And I went out and made this insane movie for a few months with these guys and made no money at the time. And it sort of led to Colin as he was in post on that because he had all the experience. He was just like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to do a feature? I was like, yeah. And that's we kind of just wrote Stillborn together very rapidly. And before I knew it, I was on set doing that and just being like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it stains the sand red. I reviewed that a couple times where it's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
okay, what happens when a female gets her period in the middle of the desert and a zombie's chasing her? It's like, that's why I love independent horror because it's like,
Right.
what other movie are you like, you know, say that to like the plot to a person and they're like,
Hmm.
oh, well, yeah, okay, that's definitely interesting because it's like, you know, you throw. It sounds like you just throw it at a dartboard. What are we gonna do with this one? Okay, she's on her period and whatever. But yeah, that one's an awesome movie.
Cool. Yeah, it was like the hard, I've directed six, I've produced some other ones and stuff like that, but to this day that was the hardest one by far just because we were out in the desert, and every location seemed to be 45 an hour and a half away, and you just had to every morning you're driving way out there, and then you're wrapping and you're coming home and you have like no time to sleep. It was just the ultimate indie grind, and it was a great experience because I learned so much on how to do it, but yeah, I definitely learned how not to do certain things as well on that I could carry forward. So I'm super happy that it happened. And I don't know where I'd be if it didn't. But yeah, that was definitely a crazy time. But ever since then, I've just been trying to do the next one and the next one and the next one. And yeah, Bodycam just came out a month, almost 2 months ago, and Reaper came out like 8 months ago, and yeah, I'm just like itching to get back on set and do another one.
Nice. Do you have stuff in the works already?
Yeah, we've got a couple scripts that we've written, and we're just trying to get the financing stuff together. You know, I'm pretty confident, very confident that I'm going to be on set this fall for sure. I don't know what it's going to be for because I've kind of done the throw shit at the wall approach with this, and just be like, okay, I'm going to take all these scripts and throw them out there, and one of them's going to come back. And I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm very proud of all three scripts that are finished right now, and there's a chance, you know, I've started to work on a fourth one that, if those ones don't go, I know I can do it because it's very small. You know, like I've made a career of these sub $500,000 movies, and being able to put them together and, you know, cast them and do all this stuff kind of on my own without needing, you know, needing someone with a couple $1 million to be like, hey, Brandon, go make your movie. My big thing is just like, how do I eliminate that person that's holding me back from doing it and just go, I'm just going to do it. You know, I'm just going to say screw it, and I'm just going to raise this money myself, go make it. You know, it has no exit strategy. I'm just going to make the film and hope to God it works. And you know, I've been really fortunate so far that it's worked, you know, more or less. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of irons in the fire, and I don't know which one's going to pop first.
You mentioned casting, and that's one thing I noticed in the movies is you have great casting.
Cool.
Like in Night of the Reaper, like especially it like the casting I thought was great. Like especially for the vibe you were going for like the 80s kind of feel. Like everyone seemed very appropriate, and I don't know, just it was really well done. Like that kind of makes a movie feel bigger than it is
Right.
sometimes, you know. And
Yeah.
even, you know, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. No, it's just like, you know, it's such a luck thing. You know, you talk to so many different actors. I mean, for Dina and Night of the Reaper, we had like 70 people read for it, and you're
Oh,
just
wow.
watching them all over and over and over, and you're just like, you know, there's these 10 girls that are so good, and which one's going to be the best? And then, you know, you're like, well, maybe this one can work in a different role, and you're kind of juggling all this stuff, and you're just, you know, at the end of the day, you're just trusting your gut, and you're just being like, what feels right? Because you got to, you know, this is the thing about directing indies is, you know, I'm writing or co-writing, I'm directing, I'm editing, I'm doing visual effects, I'm coloring, I'm finishing, and every decision that goes into this film, like I have to live with for the rest of my life. So, you know, it's nice to hear you say that they worked for you because, you know, if they didn't, I have to live with it. Like these decisions are all mine because, you know, there's no studio involved. It's just a very, you know, I'm in this room clicking buttons until the movie's done. And, yeah, you definitely kind of lose perspective a lot during that process because you're just like, man, you're just so close to it. You know, most filmmakers, they'll write and then they'll direct it, but then they step away and they can give notes on the edit and stuff like that. But I'm kind of just like stuck in the shit from beginning to end. And I love it. Like, I'm not complaining. I love it. It's just, but when you're so deeply entrenched in every part of it, there's just a level of like, you know, you have to let this phase go by. Okay, production's done. I'm done that part. I have to focus just on post production now. And this is going to be a thing that's going to be, you know, movies are very malleable and they're constantly changing. And yeah, it's just like indie filmmaking is such a crazy experience because it's always different, you know, and you never know what you like. The movies that I'm writing are not the movies that I'm making. They just it evolves so much every time, and it's fun to be part of that evolution. And I'm kind of getting better every film at how to evolve it in a better way and stuff like that. But you know, it's definitely a learning process every time.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. Each film is so like music or certain like directors. You watch it and you're like, that's
Right.
say Tarantino or whatever. It's like you watch the movie and you're like, oh man, I know his style and everything. Like every single one I watched is so different from each other
Hmm.
that it's like, okay, the only way I knew that you did it was because I looked at your IMDb and saw
Right.
each film, like Z and Superhost and all this. It's like each one's so different from each
Right.
other. And it's like, oh, you like you were saying, your horror has so many different, the subgenres. I think you hit a little bit of everything in each one. It's like, and that is a tip of my hat to you because each one is so like different from each other.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a conscious choice. After I did Z, I was just like, I don't want to be the mom horror guy, like the mom and the kid, and there's
Mm.
something after them. Oh, it's spooky. And so Superhost was just like an attempt to get as far away from that as possible and do something a little lighter and like totally grounded in reality and all this stuff like that. So yeah, no, that's cool because at the end of the day, I don't want to be typecast as any one thing. I just want to be in the genre and making stuff and just like entertain and however that'll work. And so it's it's fun to kind of pick and choose the subgenres that I want to work on and be like, Bodycam was found footage and Night of the Reaper is like an 80s slasher and an homage to that time and things like that. And it's fun to be able to kind of not be stuck in anything and be able to kind of put genres together because like some of these new ones that I'm working on, they're not one thing. They're all horror, but they're not. None of them are at all alike, but they're all completely different subgenres, and I'm excited to tackle any one of them. And so, yeah, it's just kind of like a unique challenge every time you start a movie to be like, what kind of pieces can I fit into this to kind of create this thing that's uniquely mine, if that makes sense,
So, Tony, did you end up watching Superhost?
I own it. Actually, I got a few of
Okay.
the movies in my collection right to my right. So I've seen Superhost and Z. The one scene in Z, I would rewind 500 times. The one scene where the kid falls down
Right.
from like the thing above. I'm like, oh, how did they? Oh, okay. I saw it, but it was like I was like that scene rewind in my head so many times. But yeah,
Cool.
I own a couple of his films in my
Nice.
collection. So
Yeah, Superhost. I like that was the first one I saw of yours that and I really really liked it. I think I watched that a couple times as well, and I even was like, oh look at Barbara Crampton. Like I was showing my wife. I'm like, hey, she's been on the show. And,
Oh,
but,
cool.
like that kind of stuff. And it's like, do you think that you may go that route again, like getting some of the horror icons in some of the movies?
Yeah, I mean, we actually on my movie The Puppet Man, we were going to have Barbara Crampton come back for that to play Ruby. She was like the psychic kind of character, and the movie had some issues with the finances and stuff like that, and we had to not go union, so we couldn't go SAG and Barb SAG, and so it didn't work out. But yeah, I mean. You've met her and you've talked to her on the show. Like she's the most lovely person in the world, and I would kill to have her back. It's just, every movie has its own problems, and you're dealing with schedules. And now I'm living up in Canada, which is where I'm from, but there's a whole other kind of world of filmmaking here because you're tapping into like grants and tax rebates from Canada. So there's Canadian tax credits, and then there's provincial tax credits, and they have certain things you have to like check mark, like your leads have to be Canadian, the certain amount of people on the crew have to be Canadian, all these things that you have to hit, and it can certainly affect choices in casting just because it's like, well, if I bring someone in from the US, I'm not going to get any rebate on them, and that's all of a sudden going to affect the makeup department or something like that. Like there's such complicated puzzles that casting is just one of the things, and fortunately there's so many great people, actors in Canada that I can pull from, like Reaper and Bodycam are fully Canadian, and yeah, so I mean it's just kind of a per project thing. You're just trying to find the best actor for the role, and when it happens like Barb did on Superhost, you just like get so exciting to be able to work with someone like that.
Yeah, nice.
now, do you get your like ideas for your next movie while you're filming one? It's like, oh, okay, well, like this one scene got me, give me an idea for this, or like, how does your brain work for the next feature film?
It used to be very like structured. Like I did stillborn, and then I was like, okay, what's next? And then usually something in life, could be small, it could be large, will happen, and it'll inspire the next idea. Like I did stillborn because we were just coming out of the baby phase of our second kid, and so we were used to having a baby around, and like I had another kid as well that was a little bit older, and it was just like, okay, well, this makes sense. Like I know this experience of having a newborn, and so it made a lot of sense to kind of write that. And then when Z, like I didn't have an idea, but I kind of wanted to do like like a Damien type of evil kid movie. I always thought that would be kind of fun. And then my oldest son went to kindergarten for the first time, and it was like the first time that we let him go out into the world and like learn new things without our kind of controlling him. And the conversation with my wife was like, well, what if he brought home some ideas or something from school that we didn't approve of, and that slowly evolved into like a creepy imaginary friend, and it just like kept evolving from that kind of small experience of just letting him go out and come home and tell us all these new things. And then, with Superhost, it was like I was at a film festival in Toronto, and I was staying in an Airbnb, and the toilet didn't work, and so I had to call the Airbnb Superhost, and he had to come and like bring a plunger, and me and him, we're not supposed to meet, like the system's automated, and so he comes, and we're having this like weird as shit small talk, talking about who knows what, while he's plunging the toilet that I'd peed in. And then when he left, I was just like, holy shit, like what a weird situation that was, and I just was like, there's got to be a movie there. And so, what if we were both psychopaths? What if one of us was a psychopath? I don't know. And so that, that kind of evolved from there. And then, now I feel like I've gotten to a point in my career where I'll get inspired from everything. Like I'll just be out on a walk with my wife, and I'll see something, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's interesting." I've got this little notes file on my phone, and I just add any ideas. It's like a joke, like a joke book for a comic. Like you just write anything, and it's so long and just detailed. But it's cool because like I might have an idea for something and it's not quite there, but then I'll be like, "Oh wait, I had that idea a couple years ago." I'll look for it and be like, "Yes, that plus this, that's a movie idea." And then all of a sudden you just like start building ideas on that and iterate it and see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like the more that I do, the more I know I can do. And so it just sort of helps me not limit my ideas when they come up. Like I can be like, okay, maybe that's, I'd need way too much money to do that. So I can like, what's the scaled down version of that? And then the conversations kind of happen from there. But yeah, it used to be very kind of like one movie at a time, and now I'm like movie, looking for the next idea wherever. I just want to be on set. I just want to shoot at all times. Like that would be my dream, but it, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, I mean, it's there is no real rhyme or reason. It's just life happens, and then you see it through your own lens.
Well, sometimes that makes the best movie, where it's like, oh, I knew something along those lines. Well, maybe not like, crazy imaginary friend or whatever, but definitely like Superhost, where it's just like
Right.
it's in the realm of possibility. There is,
Yeah.
whatever out there. So it's like, and those are usually the movies I, enjoy the most, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it scares me the most because it's like that can actually happen. This, on
Right.
the other hand, I mean, there's, a 0.00 point chance, but that can happen too. But
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we go on vacation, we go to bed like Airbnbs and stuff like that, and we've had situations where people have come in and had to fix something, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like that could be reality,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. It,
Always
it's it's
joke
very
around, especially
bizarre.
when you get murdered.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now with Bodycam, where'd the inspiration for that come from?
Strangely enough, I mean, it was kind of a long period of time that it happened, but I had the idea for making a body cam like short film back when I saw Jurassic World, and there's a scene near the end where Chris Pratt's riding on a motorcycle with this like army of velociraptors, and they all have like body cams on, and it cuts to this control room. And all of them, all these people are watching these body cam viewpoints of these raptors kind of in this mission. And I just remember watching that and being like, "Oh, that's a cool idea. Like, I wonder if there's a short film there, like a traffic stop or something happens. I don't know. I didn't really know. This was back in 2016 or something like that, and I just kind of back pocketed the idea because I didn't know what it was yet. And then my producer friend Curtis Harder, who like directed influencers, stuff like that. He was producing VHS 94, and we were trying to get on the wraparound segment because another director was on it, but he had to leave and do another project, and so they were looking for someone to fill it. And I was like, Kurt and I were like, well, maybe we can do it. And we had some ideas, and we kept talking about it, and then they ended up going in another direction. So Kurt and I just started talking about, well, what about this body cam idea? Like, could we build on it? And then me and him started talking about like an accidental shooting, and what do you do? And we kind of got stuck there, and we both went our kind of separate ways. And then, a couple years later, my brother and I are just we had been writing together, and we were talking about this body cam idea, and we started talking about these videos on YouTube where it's like you're in this area called Kensington in Philadelphia, and it just drives past these areas, and there's all these people that are like drug addicts, and they're just
Yeah,
standing around on the street,
I've seen those
and we were
videos.
just like, yeah, it's
It's insane.
crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah. And so we were just like, well, what if maybe they're not drug addicts, or maybe there's something controlling them beyond just like drugs. We didn't, and that was kind of the impetus for body cam as it became, because that kind of idea was really interesting, because like the accidental shooting, great catalyst, but you need to know like what was the purpose of the shooting, what were all these things, and like what are the layers, and that was kind of the start of that conversation, you know. And yeah, it just like, so from like 2016 to 2022, I think we started writing it. That that was kind of just like a slowly baking idea.
So I actually, as I was watching that movie, I was actually thinking like, how difficult was it to like monitor what was being recorded with the actual
hmm
body cams themselves, like during filming?
It was remarkably easy. Like
Okay.
production, from a production standpoint, the easiest film I've ever shot. We shot it in
Okay.
12 days. No day was over like 10 hours. It was very, very quick, because you know, with a normal movie, you're going into a location, and you're lighting it, and you're like shooting different angles, and you're like, oh, we got to turn around, we got to get inserts, we got to do all this stuff. And with this, like, we thought that our cinematographer Clayton Moore would have to shoot everything, but when we put like, we shot it on GoPros. When we put it on the actors, and we built this little rig where it would like be the GoPro on the chest with these cables running over the shoulder that would go to like a battery bank on their back, and that would have a wireless monitor
Okay.
transmitter. And so that, you know, I would be as far away as possible before the signal faded, because the weird thing was like, in a normal movie the camera's very controlled, but with this, since it was attached to their body, they could look anywhere. So the crew had to be gone. There's no audio guy like nearby with a boom mic or anything. It was just the, you know, the actors going into this house with flashlights, like they're lighting the scene, they're filming the movie, and every scene has at most two camera angles. It's like, okay, we've got it with your camera, let's switch the camera vest over to this guy, and then he'll do it, then you move on. And so it had like, it was almost like a stage play a little bit, because the blocking, you know, the movement of the actors was so vital to everything. And so you go into a scene, and you'd sort of walk it, you'd walk it again, and you'd do it over and over until everything kind of felt natural. And then you'd film it, and you do 10, 15 takes, but it's all so rapid, and like the resets are so rapid because the actors are recording everything. And then, you know, you'd be satisfied with it, flip the camera vest, and do it a few more times, because the actors by that point knew the scene down. And so, you know, then you're just like, all right, well, that's it. Like normally on a movie, you're like, okay, we got to turn the lighting around, we got to do all this stuff, and there's just such a process that was all eliminated from body cam, and that made it really fun. So yeah, it was cool, because like as you're monitoring it, you're just watching the movie play. It's just like, you know, they split up in the house, and you're watching one of the cameras go up or down, or whichever one's going, and it's just these long takes where you're just going through a situation. And it was very enveloping as a director, because you're just watching this happen without any kind of cuts, or any of those like fourth wall movie things that exist. And the actors got to see that too, you know, like they go upstairs and they see a dog in a crib, and they see a woman, Keegan Connor Tracy, covered in blood, standing in a closet. Like he's alone in the house with her, and he's just looking at that stuff and like reacting accordingly. So yeah, it was really interesting. And you know, I don't know if I want to do it immediately again, because I like the more traditional way of working, but you know, it was certainly like fun to just be a part of. And just I loved the energy of just how quickly we moved, and every day you'd be like, oh wow, we're already done, and you just move on, and that never happens in any other type of shooting. So yeah, surprisingly very easy, but post production completely different, full nightmare. Took like 2 years to finish,
Oh, geez.
and yeah, I mean, we shot it before Night of the Reaper, and it just took forever to finish. The visual effects on it were just like, you know, we didn't have a big budget, and we did not have the budget for what we were trying, but you know, we wanted to take some swings, and so you know, just it took a
It
long
must have
time.
been difficult with how shaky the cameras get,
Yes,
and yeah.
yeah,
But yeah,
tracking
that,
that,
that
and
makes way more sense to how you did it
yeah,
and how I was thinking it was done. So yeah, that makes way more sense.
Well,
'Cause-
with
yeah.
that one, I mean the house itself was creepy as
hmm
shit, and then just did like the audio too, like towards the back end when they're like up on the roof, and just the noises. I'm like, this is scaring the shit out of me. Like the
Cool.
sounds and the locations, I was like, I would be shitting my pants at this point in time because even like the house and then the basement part of it and all that, I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, where'd you find those things? Because those were like legit, like you know, creepy
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, the house we were just like driving around this area, me and the two producers, and I was just like, that's the kind of house we need for this movie. It's just this dilapidated thing in this street and with like a sagging roof. And one of the producers, Chris Ball, he just jumped out of the car. He's like, well, why don't we just get that house? And so he runs up to the door, knocks on it, and no one's there because, obviously no one can live there. But he went next door and he knocked on that door, and this guy opens the door and he goes, Chris? And he's like, Peter, oh my, and they were friends. And the guy's like, yeah, man, the people that lived there died years ago. No one lives there. Here, I've got all the information of who owns it. It was just this like serendipity moment. And so we got to kind of like base camp out of his friend's house and then shoot in the house next door. And it was just like the perfect setup. But yeah, like the basement, for example, that hole wasn't really there. It was just like a green screen on the ground, which again, terrible idea. But yeah, so it was like doing this 3D whole thing way beyond something I can do. And so we brought this team in to do a lot of the work. And yeah, they didn't love it either. It was, I mean, I didn't shoot. It was one of those things like I usually do my own visual effects. And so I was like, I'll figure it out. And then when I was editing it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to figure this is so high level, like tracking 3D shit into all this jumpy footage and then half of it's night vision and yeah, all this. It was a total nightmare. And so we brought this company on and they were young and hungry and they wanted to try it and they did. And they, I'm sure they're proud of it now, but there were, it was a year and a half of working with this team and like, taking pieces of the movie and, doing them. And yeah, it was such a nightmare. And like like the picture edit didn't take that long. It was a pretty easy movie to edit, but there was so much visual effects in it. Like there's that whole sequence near the end when Jackson's driving downtown, and it's like this maze that happens. And I had no idea how to do that. Like I shot. We went into a farmer's market parking lot. It was the last thing we shot during the principal photography. And I just was laying in the back seat with the audio kit, and I was like reading Jackson's mom's lines as the actor Jamie was just doing figure eights in the parking lot, and I'm just like whipping around in this cop car trying to read these lines, pretending to be his mom. And then I was just like, he's killing it in the performance. And then as I'm editing and putting it together, I'm like, this is never gonna work. Like this is the stupidest idea I've ever had. And so I had to we basically like this visual effects team and we came up with the idea of building a 3D city in Unreal and then taking that city and like making a path through it and having all these lighting cues and things like that were timed to these specific moments. And then getting the crew back together, getting Jamie back and renting out this volume in Calgary. And we shot with the cop car, like practically. And so he's actually, he's pretending like he's driving a video game and these events are happening all around him and he's able to react to it. And like the lighting is right. And it just sort of made it more realistic than if we just did like a green screen thing or something like that. Like all the interactive lighting and all that stuff are practical, which was really cool. But it just took so long, like probably a year, to get the city designed and then like the path designed and all these moments. And it's still not perfect, but at the end of the like, there's just like a point after like a year when you're fighting with this team to get your vision out, and they're just like, we're doing the best we can. That you just have to be like, okay, we're done. Like pull the ripcord. It's 90% there. It works, and that's like a miracle because there was a period of time where it was just like this movie's screwed. Like I don't know if it's ever going to be finished, let alone like finished and be okay. And so the fact that sequence works from like 90 to 95% of the way is just like a freaking miracle.
So, well, yeah, that sounds. You can't tell by watching it, but
Yeah.
but there's a reason why people like you do what you do, and why we just talk
It's
about
not how we drew. It's not how we drew it up for sure. It was
Yeah.
like very exploratory filmmaking because, I had an idea. Most of them were wrong, and then you're just like, how do I fix all this stuff after the fact? And Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm super proud of it. It's
Oh
just
yeah, no, you pulled off a great movie. So
Yeah,
thanks.
because I'm like, oh, that's the same house. Oh,
Right.
there's the house again. Oh,
Right.
okay. So, like watching it that way, it's like, oh, I would never have guessed that it was like
Yeah.
not shot. Well, I didn't know how it was, but
Right.
like wasn't shot the way I was thinking it was
Sure.
shot. So,
And that's cool. I mean, even if it doesn't work 100%, you're just still just like something's happening here and I don't know what it is and I'm trying to figure it out and and even if like technically it's not 100%, the story works. Like it makes sense and it plays. So it's cool. And it kind of became like the signature moment for the movie, which was gratifying because it was so hard, like so hard to do. And I just had to like oversee it. I didn't have to do the grunt work on it, which the team did, and so they put in crazy hours for very little money, and they're very happy with how it turned out, and that's great because like we came out friends and we're not enemies now, and that's that's a good thing.
yeah. So what inspired you to jump into filmmaking? Like, are you just a film buff from way back when you were a kid, or like what made you want to take that leap?
I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, like I had three siblings, have three siblings, and we'd grow up. We had a camcorder in like 1993 or something like that. So we always just were filming each other and like making little short films and like superhero stuff and like all garbage. But it just got us so comfortable around cameras and being doing the things. And as I got older, like what path do you take when you're in high school? And all I wanted to do was make movies. And being a kid in Canada, like how likely is that to happen? And so um, I graduated and I didn't really have a plan. I got like I got some like very grunt work working at an equestrian park, like shoveling shit, and I was just miserable and just and I just all I wanted to do was do movies. And so after a year of that, I was just like, I'm gonna go to film school. And so I applied to this film school in Toronto, and I kind of just went there, and I fell in love with just like being around the production stuff and being in studios and like talking to people that had been in the thing. And it was just for the first time in my life, like I felt where I should be, and so I just was like trying to just soak up as much filmmaking as I could while I was in this program, because it was very, I think it was only like 18 months long or something like that. It was a private school thing. It was and it was just like it was such a great time. And then when I graduated and I had to move back home and get a job, and I was like a waiter, and I was just miserable. I was just like, I need to be back doing that thing. And so I tried to move back to Toronto, and I failed horribly there, and ended up going to Las Vegas where my sister was living, and I got this like menial job working as like a PA at a very corporate production company. And I just slowly worked my way up there until I was directing, and I was like, okay, cool. And once I got there, I was like, I don't want to be directing talking head interviews for the rest of my life. And so I just was like, you know what, I've got a kid on the way. This is the perfect time to stop having a stable income. Let's go off into the freelance world. And it took some years, but it was just like a massive hustle. And the central goal was always just, I want to make films, and like I grew up in the 90s when Spielberg was at his peak, and every new movie that would come out every summer, you'd have Twister, you'd have all of these things that every time you'd go, you'd see something you'd never seen before, and there was so much magic to that Jurassic Park, The Matrix, Twister, as I said, like all these movies, they were always doing something new and different. And to me, it was the peak of cinema, because now everything has been seen and everything has been done. And it's just like, it's kind of almost like the story is all that matters. Is why you have movies like Anora winning Best Picture, because it's nothing, it's not a huge spectacle or anything. It's just good storytelling. And so just, being around that time and watching like behind the scenes stuff, as, Jurassic Park and how they did it, it just sort of made me love not just movies, but the process, and like that's why I like being a part of all of it. And I think, if a studio comes calling like, hey, Brandon, we want you to direct, Insidious 8, I'd be like, hell yeah, that sounds amazing. But I wouldn't have the same experience that I get when I'm doing an indie, where I can be, my hands are in every single part of the process. And that's what I love the most. And, the older I get and the more I realize, like, yeah, I just, the indie lifestyle is totally my bread and butter because I do want to be a part of every piece. And so, to answer your question, it's just there was never another job that made sense for me. Like, I'm definitely a dreamer, and I'm definitely someone that has the stupidity to try to dream big and like go for something crazy. And like, I as risk averse as I am because I'm a father and a husband and stuff, I still I'm a giant kid at heart, and I just want to be in that creative industry. And so I've gotten some lucky breaks and things like that, and just have been able to continue it. And now filmmaking's like my own. I do some visual effects for other films, but in general, writing and directing and stuff like that is kind of my central thing, and it's great. I'm super proud.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely working out. Like I said, getting Shudder being what it is nowadays, and
Yeah.
getting most of your work being able to get seen on that
Hmm.
platform. It's like some people work their whole careers, and it's like
Yeah.
sometimes that movies don't even get released. It's like, yeah, I made a
Right.
movie. Where is it? Well,
Hmm.
kind of in that like limbo phase. You're
Yeah.
getting physical media. Like I said, I got a
Hmm.
few of them here waiting on. I don't know if Night of the Ripper is going to come out on physical.
It should. I've heard rumblings of a syndrome release
All
for
right.
it, but
Mm,
I don't know when. I mean, it came out on iTunes like 2 months after release, and then, I've given them a bunch of behind the scenes stuff for it, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like I don't know a lot. Like you
mm.
give them the movie and then it's theirs, and then they can do whatever they want. And and they'll tell me stuff. It's not like they're like Brandon, piss off. It's just they just have a system in place, and AMC owns them, and AMC's huge, and I'm probably one of their smallest filmmakers on that works with them because they do like AMC TV shows and all this stuff, and so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm very hopeful that it happens because I love having a physical. It's a there's nothing cooler than having a movie you made on your shelf.
Yeah, and Vinegar Syndrome especially like puts out
Hmm.
quality stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just visually. Some of their movies, I'm like, I've never heard of it before, but just because of the packaging,
Totally.
it's like literally going back into a video store when you were younger.
Hmm.
You look at the cover art and you're like, whatever, this looks awesome, and then you pop the movie in, and it has nothing to do with the cover art, and you're like,
Right.
oh, well, the movie was but the cover art was cool.
Try
So
Looks
going
great
into
on your shelf.
their
it,
physical store in Connecticut.
Oh, is
It's
there one?
well,
That's cool.
yeah, they have a physical store in Connecticut. I've been there once with my friend Scott, and it was just like overwhelming. And they have like
Cool.
a whole section of like used Vinegar Syndrome stuff too, which is like way cheaper, obviously, because like their prices are a little high, especially if you don't know what you're getting. But
Right.
you're like, wow,
but
that looks really cool. I
they
don't
do
know what
some
it
like
is, but
deluxe editions. Like
yeah,
recently, they just put out the Garbage Pail Kids, which I
oh
Oh
already
yeah.
had, but their edition of it is amazing. And Mac and Me, another one that I
Nice.
already had, but I'm like, I need to get this.
Yeah.
Daryl, like some of these, like really like good looking. Yeah, I'll just show you since I have it here. But like Tank Girl.
Oh
hmm,
yeah. That's cool.
So they do all these special editions. So if you get the Vinegar Syndrome, you know, feature, that'd
Yeah.
be pretty cool.
it's what
Yeah.
Criterion used to be, I think.
Right. Yeah, it's cool because like physical was dying out for a little while. I feel like because like Netflix was new and hot and everybody was so affordable, and then all of a sudden all these other companies come out and they start pushing the prices up, and then people start going like, kind of miss having it physically, and then they started 4K Blu-rays. I feel like when it came out, no one was really buying them because they were just like super expensive, and everybody already had it on streaming, so it's like what's the point? But now you've got all these boutique labels like Vinegar Syndrome and Shout and all these companies that are releasing these really cool curated things for the fans, and they're limited and all that stuff. They're not going to Walmart that you can go pick them up. You have to order them, but they're so well put together, and they're put together by people that love the medium. So it's cool to have on your shelf. Like I have a bunch of Arrow releases, and for like Donnie Darko, and it's sick. Like it's got the director's cut, it's got the theatrical, it's got this booklet in it and stuff like that. It's just like it's a cool way to show off your favorite movies, and just like have it in a cool way. It's not just like a blue spine, like a Blu-ray. It's care was put into it. And yeah, I hope the Night of the Reaper thing happens with Vinegar Syndrome, because yeah, I have no idea what they would do with it. I'd be so excited to see.
We do.
Plus,
Now,
to tell you the truth, there is a not only are there's so many different streaming services now, they're pricing themselves out because they're
Yeah.
all in competition. And it's actually because I do a lot of videos on TikTok and stuff, and there's a whole group of people that never collected before or collected, very seldomly now are getting back into, getting old school DVDs and VHSs and,
Right.
you know, they're it's like vinyl almost where it's like, oh,
Hmm.
what was old is new again, and it's like
Yeah.
people want, new movies on a VHS style. So
Totally. Yeah, I've got like this big CRT beside me. It's got like a
yeah.
laser disc player. All the yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's just fun to have on in the background when you're working or something like that. There's just something about the sound and the visuals of an old kind of TV that just brings you back to being a kid.
This showed up on my porch this morning addressed to you.
Night of the Reaper.
It's so great to see you back in town.
I really appreciate you helping out tonight.
Hey, Max.
Hello, Dina.
Let's play hide and seek. Are you downstairs? Are you in the dining room? Hey, Max. Are you outside?
They're showing us this for a reason. There's a clue somewhere.
What's this?
That's the basement. We don't go down there anymore.
Now it's freaking me out. Max?
Yeah, that place can give me the creeps.
Kiddo? Are you messing with me?
None of this is a coincidence, Butch. Not today.
Willis, what did you do?
Night of the Reaper, huh? Kinda catchy.
Now it was Night of the Reaper that had the RoboCop and Texas Chainsaw 2 poster in it, right?
Yeah.
Was that for any particular reason, or was that just because you love them, or?
That was actually one of the producers, this guy Matt Mangiarides. He was like, "Hey, I've got these original posters of these movies. I'm gonna bring them, and we can get the rights to showing them." And I was just like, "All right, cool." Like for me, I was just like, whenever I do an indie, you always have to create everything because you never have any money to do it. And so we had a little bit of money on this, and we were able to put it into things like the MTV bumper at the beginning, and like Pat Benatar song, and the Don't Fear the Reaper. And there was a number of things. We had like Coke and stuff like that, so we could kind of use these real life products from that time. And those were just ones that he had and we were able to use. And so we got clearance on them. And there's like Fangoria magazines on the table and stuff like that. And it was just, just for me, it kind of just like does a couple things. One, it makes the viewer go like, hey, cool. It's a fun little thing. And then the other thing is just like, it also informs a little bit of the character. Like, oh, he must love movies. And it just gives a tiny bit of subtext to the character. Especially when you're talking about a character that's filming people die, like, oh, this guy likes horror movies. He's got horror shit everywhere. Maybe he's the bad guy. I don't know. It's all just like working in service of the story at the same time, while also just being like a cool nod to these movies that, yeah, for sure I grew up with, and it's cool to see up there.
Okay, I was wondering if there was anything else behind it.
No, it was just, yeah, cool opportunity.
These are great
guess.
movies. I'm a fan of both those movies, so I was just like, oh, that's cool. If you had to pick a favorite horror movie, do you have one?
I get asked that so often, and it's like picking your favorite kid.
It is.
It's
It
like,
changes probably day to day.
totally, because
Yeah.
different movies have different effects on you as a person, and how you saw them, and where you were in life when you saw them, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I tend to say the Blair Witch Project, just because I saw it when I was in the 8th grade, and it was like a midnight screening before the movie came out, and me and my cousin had gotten tickets to it. And so we went to this midnight thing, and nobody knew what it was. I mean, you guys probably remember the marketing for that. It was
Oh
like, this
yeah.
is real, this is real.
The
And
fact you were in
so,
eighth grade makes me feel very old, by the way.
well,
Makes me
I'm
feel
over
very old.
40, so I'm getting there.
Well, the thing
But
is, especially for that movie, it was pre-internet. Like if it
yeah,
was internet, that thing would have been spoiled the first 5 seconds that it came out. But that was like
Well, there was internet, but it
pre-internet.
wasn't internet like
But
we
it
know
wasn't
now.
it
yeah,
wasn't
Yeah.
what it is now. It was
Right.
like,
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple websites up there and stuff, but
Hmm.
definitely had that like, oh yeah, these
Yeah.
people are gone until they were on what was it, Conan or one of those
Something.
like
No,
late night.
I
David
saw
Letterman.
them. I saw them in the audience of Jay Leno. That's how I realized they weren't really dead.
Hmm.
Is that they were in the
Yeah.
audience just waving, and I was like, "What the what?" I'm like, "Huh?" But yeah,
That's funny.
like it's completely sold out, gigantic theater when I saw it, and you could hear a pin drop.
Hmm.
Everyone was like enthralled with what was going on the screen, and
Totally.
but yeah, I give that movie a ton of credit.
Yeah.
It was an experience for sure.
Totally. Yeah, and like it's harder to watch now because it's slow and all this stuff, and it's not really that scary anymore because just movies have evolved since then, I think, and so it doesn't really carry that. But at the time, it was just it almost is like The Exorcist when people are like, oh, they're leaving the theaters and they're vomiting and they're so scared, and it's just like it just at that time it was just the most novel idea and approach to filmmaking and making a horror film. And it was just for me as like a kid, I was like 13 at the time, just going to it and seeing it was such a cool experience and thinking it was real as I walked out of the theater at like 2 a.m. and just being like, this is the most scared I've ever been, and like crying myself to sleep because I assumed I just watched people just die.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so yeah, it was that's just one that I think because of that memory of how I saw it, that's like probably my favorite thing to go back to.
Yeah, it was definitely like an experience. Like,
Hmm.
and I experienced it with a group of friends, and we all felt the same way about it. And we all like
Cool.
we went back to my friend's apartment and we just talked about it and like
Hmm.
creeped ourselves out like to no end. It was ridiculous. And like
Cool.
the windows were open and like all of their windows like slammed. Like I don't know if it was like a gust of wind or something. And
Right.
like I'm just like I got to get out of here. And like I'm just like I'm out. And
It was the
we all
witch.
yeah, that was totally what we thought it was. But but yeah, it was yeah, that was an experience I'll never forget. I mean, I
Cool.
wouldn't say it's for me because I am a little bit older. Um, it's not. I mean, it's up there as like probably one of my favorite experiences with a movie,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think it, like, love it or hate it, it definitely started it's not the first found footage movie, but it's the one that really
Right.
planted its
Penetrated.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
for sure.
started that whole craze. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
but
for
yeah,
me, it's always Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Nice.
That's the one that I remember watching when I was younger, and then trying to tell people the premise of the movie, and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Yeah, clowns come down from outer space and put people into cotton candy and big bouncy balls and all this stuff, and you know,
Hmm.
like a little cult classic for me." But yeah,
Right.
that's my go-to if I had to pick it. And then recently, it's been Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That one brought
That's a
me
good one.
back into the horror movie, and that's where my love of like horror comedies resurged, and like where you can
Sure.
say, like you was saying there, the next couple might not just be straight up horror where you pick from.
Hmm.
I like when you could take two different genres, not only with movies but with music and stuff, where you can
Yeah.
and do it well. It's like, oh man, it's perfect because then it just takes you on a ride where it's just not like a stagnant, like, okay, it's scary, okay,
For sure.
but some it's like, okay, you're laughing and then mid laugh is when they get you and you're like, oh, okay. So it's like that's
For
where I
sure.
can I like when we can do that. But
yeah. Well, we're almost at the hour, so I want to make sure that we get some plugs in. And also, just so you know, I'm gonna probably take some trailers and put them in the middle of the show here and there. Is there any particular trailers you want me to play, or?
I mean, Superhost is cool just because I cut that one. Like, that was the only time I've ever edited a trailer, and it's cool. I'm proud of it just because, like, it's my work that did that. And that was just, like, that was the first time I solo wrote that film. I directed it. I cast it. I was producing it with Kurt and edited it, did the color. I did all the VFX. And it was just, like, the first time that I sort of realized that I loved every part of the process, and that's what I wanted to continue doing. And so, yeah, that for me, that was just a very important film for me because it just sort of set up the next part of my life in a cool way to just get me going on this path.
All right, Rebecca. We're gonna start off with a friendly introduction, like hi, my name is Rebecca, and I'm a super host.
Do I look at you or at the camera?
What's up, guys? My name is Teddy.
I'm Claire, and welcome to another episode of Superhost. We are staying in the most gorgeous home up in the mountains.
So quiet here. This superhost, whose name Betty Lou 52, has a nearly spotless record.
It's actually Rebecca.
Oh, so you're neither Betty nor Lou. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, guys?
You think you come out this far to get away from all those crazy people, but then you get to this house and you realize that the host might be even crazier than those people you left behind.
Well, I don't want to get in the way of your trip. Wouldn't want to get a bad review.
That is the craziest shit I've ever seen. We gotta get more of her.
Okay, roll camera.
Hi, my name is Rebecca.
This is what people want to see.
And I am a super host.
Complete lunatics. This woman, Rebecca, she said that she was the host of this place, but she's not.
We have one final surprise for you that I think you're going to love.
If anyone's out there watching, please help us. Please stop!
Think of all the hits you'll get.
Look at her. She's harmless.
So yeah, I mean that's definitely one that I love. I mean, I love the Night of the Reaper trailer. My son's in that movie, which is super cool. He's the little boy. Yeah, Max. That's my middle child.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that was great. Just he was on set for 6 or 7 days, and got to miss school and come hang out, and that was just really fun. And so seeing him, and he's grown a little bit since then, but just seeing him in that kind of that world is really funny for me to be like,
he was really good too. He was really good.
Yeah, he did great.
It's awesome. So yeah, I'll throw both of those in there. So where can people go to find out what's going on with you and with your productions? And where's the best place to follow you?
Instagram's the kind of the only real. I feel like I'm turning into a boomer, and I'm like, I don't want to change my ways and learn TikTok and do all the things, so I just kind of stick on Instagram. So that's probably the best place. I kind of keep everything updated there, but it's just the Brandon Christensen.
Okay, perfect.
I got a question before. Like you say, you like wearing many hats and stuff like that, and you say you keep most of your films, at that like 500 mark. If there was an opportunity, would you be able to pull yourself back to be like, I'm just a director on this one? Like after doing, the last couple that way, like where you're doing everything, would you be able to pull it back?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that would be amazing to do a studio film. Just the access and the level of people you're working with is just like so crazy to think about. Like just like working with that kind of money opens up so much time, and you'd have a great editor. Like I'm okay, I can do it, and I think that finding someone at the budget level that we have. I don't know if there's someone that's willing to do it for as cheap as I'm willing to do it, just because, I know the film. So having, the best of the best doing this stuff would be, an honor. So for sure. I just love being part of it. And that's why I do visual effects on the side too. Like I'm just kind of an indie guy that friends, they'll come in and be like, hey, I've got these 4 shots. I need to do this thing. And I'm just kind of like a cheap alternative because I just like being involved. Like, yeah, man, let's do it. Like, let's talk about it and I'll help you through it and whatever. And I can, lend some advice or some skills that I have, and that's cool. And I get to get my name on the credits or whatever. Like, I just like being involved. So, I would hope, like my favorite current kind of filmmaker, and it's not even that he makes the best films, but I just love the way he works, is David F. Sandberg, because he does so much of this stuff himself. And when he's not making a giant $200 million movie, he's making he's making a little short film with his wife as the actor, and it's just like him and her making a short. And I actually got to meet them in October in Boston, which was super cool, because I just love, I've been a fan of his YouTube channel for a long time.
Oh, your microphone just cut out. There we go. Can you hear him, Tony?
I can't.
Sorry.
Am I
Yeah.
back? Am I back?
Yeah,
Okay.
now you're back.
I'm so sorry. Hopefully you can edit that out. But
okay.
I was just saying, I met David in Boston, him and his wife, and we got to chat for like a half hour, and it was super cool just to pick his brain a little bit, because he's so hands-on in film too. Like when he did Annabelle, he was doing visual effects shots himself just to add pieces to it, and like then he would do a breakdown of what he did on his YouTube channel, and then he would do just, I just love that he also just loves to consume himself, and not only his own work, but just everything. Like he's just a movie guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I could have someone's career, it would be his. And he's not editing these Hollywood movies or anything. He's just, I'm sure he would love to, but he just loves the process, and that's where I'm at.
Nice. I'm right outside of Boston. I'm in like 45 minutes outside of Boston.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Was
That's
it like a film festival or something that you were at?
Yeah, it was this film. It was a new one. It was called Midnight Fest, and it was just somewhere near Harvard. And I think that next year they're moving to Salem, which is cool.
Nice.
But yeah, it was fun. They had him out for a lights out screening and like a Q&A after. And so I pretty much, like, they were playing Bodycam, and I was like, I wasn't going to go until I heard he was playing immediately before Bodycam. So I was just like, I'm going to pay my way there. I'm just going to do, get a hotel where he's staying just so I could have this opportunity to meet him. And, it was cool because we met, we talked, and he's like, yeah, send me Bodycam. And then I did. And like a day later, he's like, hey, it was cool. And I was just like, holy shit. Not only did you ask for it, but you watched it within like 24 hours. That's insane. So yeah, that was really cool. Very, very fun moment for sure.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Studios hire me. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. Word on the street. Get the guy hired. But anyways, so yeah, we got to wrap things up. So Tony, where can people follow you?
You can find it. Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I don't do videos anymore, but I got enough backlog to, keep you entertained for a little bit. Tony Has Nine Fingers on X, which I don't use, but I still have it in my shtick. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which is my fastest growing social media. You'll find me mostly there, where I show off my movies, talk movies, and stuff like that. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show, most Tuesdays or a Monday night, or sometimes, whether we have awesome guests or it's just horror movie talk. Definitely join us. Well, at this point in time, you're not going to join us live this week, but join us live most Tuesdays so you can ask questions and stuff like that. Or if you want to listen to us on Thursdays, wherever podcasts stream. And yeah, Kevin.
Just A Knuckle on Instagram. And like Tony said, you can watch us mostly live on Tuesdays. But you can watch the video show on Tuesday nights. And then the audio goes up on Thursdays. And we appreciate anyone who listens or watches. Thank you very much for your support. And thank you very much to our very special guest for making such cool movies. And if you have Shudder, check them out. If you don't have Shudder, get Shudder and check them out. I mean, Shudder's cheap enough. I mean, it's awesome. I've found so many cool things on Shudder, including Brandon's movies. So thanks for coming on.